What's going on YouTube? So no matter what you know about cars, the Rolls-Royce name will certainly make your head turn. Now today we're in South Carolina and we're happy to say for the first time on this channel, we are going to review and get behind the wheel of a Rolls-Royce, the $406,000 Ghost to be exact. So is this the ultimate model to show you've made it once and for all? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Now before we get into that drive and doing things like getting a sound level reading, which should be quite the experience, we're first going to talk about the exterior design today. Now when it comes to a Rolls-Royce, this is one of those things, it doesn't need to be improved on. They have the classic design that stays pretty much the same and consistent between their different models. Here with the Ghost, of course, you've got that signature bold front end design. This is a very large grille. This is going to be finished completely in chrome, but you can also get a black badge version, which will black out many of these elements for a little bit more of an aggressive look. And you can also get this grille illuminated so that it's bold and stands out even at night. Of course, sitting atop the hood is your signature Spirit of Ecstasy, so you can look out upon your success as you drive down the road or ride in the back. This does retract if you try to grab it, if it's stolen, and you can also get it gold plated, which would be very fancy. And then coming over here to our headlights, you have the signature laser LED headlights. Beautiful bright design here again with that classic Rolls-Royce look. Now moving on to your wheels, you do of course have a lot of different options, really an endless number of options, because it goes without saying just about anything on this Rolls-Royce Ghost is customizable to whatever spec the customer wants. One of the things that we have that I think is really cool is the fact that in the center part of these really nice 21-inch alloy wheels, we actually have matching to the body color. This is a kind of a bronze color called Tuscan Sun. I really like how subtle it is, you know, when you see it out in the sun. I'm just kidding. But as you can see, these 21-inch alloy wheels look really, really nice overall, and I think match well with the exterior. Now, as we come up here, we do, of course, have a Rolls-Royce branding. And then taking a look at the mirrors, these are going to have every feature you can throw at mirrors, so power folding, auto dimming, blind spot monitoring, and heating, of course.
Now here at the side, we are going to have a signature Rolls-Royce look, partly due to the fact that, of course, we have coach doors on this model. We'll talk about that a little bit later when we go into the rear seat area, but it offers a very distinct look here at the side. As far as the overall length, about 212 inches long for this standard wheelbase Ghost. Now that's still a very long sedan by all stretches of the imagination. It's quite a bit larger than an S-Class, for instance, or a BMW 7 Series. And you can also get an extended wheelbase version if you want additional space, but this is just the standard version. Of course, there is also the Phantom. This is kind of a baby Phantom model. Now, as we head around to the rear of this Rolls-Royce Ghost, my oh my, we're gonna have that signature Rolls-Royce look. It looks absolutely so imposing and so rich here in person. Just looking at it, it just oozes that you've made it. Now, as far as some of the design elements, we do have a long trunk lid, chrome here in the middle, and then as far as our taillights are concerned, these are going to be full LED as you would expect. We even have nice little Rolls-Royce branding inside, and as we drop down to the lower area, we do actually have quad exhaust outlets because we have a V12 under the hood of this Ghost. More on that later, but they're not going to be exposed for that classy look. Now, when it comes to safety systems, none of you Rolls-Royce owners are probably even going to be driving it, so you won't care if you have all 4 active safety features as standard equipment, but I do believe you're going to get that as standard on the Rolls-Royce Ghost. But guys, there is an absolutely exquisite interior that I can't wait to show you. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, it's now time to get into the interior. First, we'll take a quick look at the key fob. As you can see, it is going to be finished in beautiful real leather and real metal. And to get inside, you're just gonna grab behind the handle. You can just kind of pull that door open. It's very smooth in its operation. And now I've opened up the door. Take a look inside this beautiful interior. It's hard to even express just how much luxury is on board with this Rolls-Royce Ghost. Of course, you can customize pretty much anything inside of this cabin. And in terms of your color options, you're gonna have the choice between a primary, secondary, and tertiary color combination so that you can mix this in truly unique ways. As you can see, these seats here are going to be absolutely stunning. You have the finest quality leathers running all throughout. We have the color contrast piping, perforation, and of course at top you have the signature Rolls-Royce branding embroidered straight into the headrest itself. These are incredibly comfortable seats, and they're adjustable in more ways than you can figure out. Anything you want, you can have it here in this Rolls-Royce Ghost, including ventilation, heating, memory, and of course, massage as well. But let's go ahead and take a look at something over here before we climb inside, and that's gonna be our umbrella. Everybody likes to always learn about this and see this, but you have the built-in available umbrella finished in exquisite metal for the most luxury possible with your umbrella. Very satisfying. Let's go ahead and get inside. Now that I'm inside, of course, I don't want to strain myself and reach for this door, which actually is way further away than I can reach. Rolls-Royce has included a nice button right here, so you just press this and the door will automatically close. And of course, once it closes, you will be encapsulated in luxury completely, as well as just the extreme insulation and sound deadening is inside of here. But let's look at the rest of the materials inside of the cabin. Obviously, anything you touch will be finished in a beautiful material. So all leather all throughout, all the way up to the top part. As you move to the upper part of the dashboard, again, all leather all the way up into the windshield. This is going to be a two-tone finish based on those color choices that you select. We have the optional clock built into the dash. You've got the Ghost branding through there, and we have a beautiful real, of course, piece of wood that's going through the entire center section. Obviously, everything in here just has extreme tactile quality. So things like your vents, it's just so satisfying to pull these. They're made of solid metal. Every button and knob just has this exquisite feel to it. There really is just a level of luxury here that we have never experienced in any other model. This is, your top tier luxury vehicle. Now to start it up, you're actually gonna have your push button start located over here on the left side of the steering wheel. Now that I've fired it up, let's kind of come in closer and take a look at our gauge cluster first of all. As you can see, we have that traditional 3-gauge design like all Rolls-Royces have. These are actually digital gauges though, so if you look closely behind the rings, this is actually a display, and you can customize the colors inside of these gauges to match with other elements inside the interior as well. Up top, you do have a head-up display, and as we pull back to the steering wheel, take a look at this. This is very reminiscent of a yacht, honestly, and that kind of is what this is, a land yacht at the end of the day. So you have this huge diameter, really smooth steering wheel, two-tone leather surrounding the entire thing, and beautiful real metal buttons all throughout for any controls you need to access on the wheel itself. Obviously, it is also going to be power adjusting and also heated. But let's turn over here to our console and take a look at some of the interior storage. As I open that up, you'll see a nice console, nice felt lining inside. You have some USBs and a 12-volt outlet. This is also going to be your wireless phone charging pad, so you don't have anything, out here in the open where it will disturb the visual of the console. It's actually going to be hidden right there in a nice area. We also have a little additional storage underneath this beautiful piece of wood. Everything, of course, is nicely dampened and weighted, and you have your 2 cup holders right there. You have some controls here for your infotainment system and various other functions inside of the vehicle. And then I love this right here, our climate controls. They're just gloriously old school and just beautifully weighted knobs. You just feel that quality as you turn through your different settings. You of course have your heated and ventilated seats, and all those buttons are going to be very easy to access right there, and you adjust your temperature right through here. Up above, we have our audio controls. These are beautiful piano keys for different presets. They're actually touch capacitive as well. You can see that come up on the display itself. And then right here in the middle, we have our volume knob for the audio system. So this is a bespoke Rolls-Royce audio system, of course, and I went ahead and paired my phone so that we can give this a sample. Wow. Impressive doesn't really begin to describe it. It is absolutely a stunning sounding sound system, just fantastic. So if you grow tired of listening to total silence, which is what this vehicle is, you can crank up that audio system and listen to whatever you like. Now up top here, we do have our infotainment system. Technology obviously is not really the focus of this Rolls-Royce. They actually keep things gloriously analog in most ways, but you do still have a infotainment system with all the functions that you're going to expect to see. You have your Bluetooth, you have built-in navigation, things like that. Everything is simply rendered up here, and you can use that main control knob down here on the dash to adjust it. In terms of the overall logic of the system, it's basically based on iDrive, so it's very similar if you have experienced a BMW in that way. Up top here, you do have your auto-dimming mirror with 3 HomeLink universal remotes. We have some beautiful lighting up here at the top. And speaking of lighting, you'll notice there's not a sunroof up here at the top. That's because we have the Stargaze headliner. So as you can see, even here in the bright light of the day, there's little dots that represent the stars up here in the headliner. Mason can talk about that a little bit more later.
Now we went ahead and left the door open because of course we do have power doors back here as well for the coach setup. As you can see, the coach setup actually does allow very easy entry and exit into the rear. So you don't even have to strain yourself getting in and out of your Rolls-Royce. And when you want to shut the door, if you don't already have someone there to do it, you just push this button right here, very conveniently located, and then the outside will be completely outside and you will be inside this Ghost's rear seat. Now let's go ahead and talk about what you're going to get back here. As far as rear space, let's talk about that first. 42.3 inches of legroom, 39 inches of headroom, so very good space figures. Now, of course, if you're going to be riding in the Ghost all the time, probably should get that extended wheelbase version because that's going to extend this out even more to make it feel like you're in a completely ridiculous amount of space. But even with the standard version, like what we have today, we're exceeding 12 inches of knee space. I'm 5'9" for reference. The seat is adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8", and my feet, if they can reach up underneath the seat, do slide up under there perfectly fine. So yeah, Shaquille O'Neal, you'll probably be okay in your Ghost. Now, as far as here in the center, we do have, once again, those beautiful metal controls. This is how you turn on and off the vents. And then of course we do have analog controls back here for our climates. Of course you have 4-zone climate and you can adjust the temperature just like that. We also have heated rear seats. That is standard equipment. You can also option on ventilated rear seats, power massaging rear seats, as well as power adjusting rear seats. Although this Ghost doesn't have a lot of those options. Now if we fold down the center console here, of course this is a very nice place to rest your arm. We can pop this open. You have additional felt lining inside with some leather, more wood trim. We do have pop-out cup holders through here, and this is where you can really start to option on a lot of fancy things like champagne flutes, a whiskey decanter in this Rolls-Royce Ghost. So whatever you want back here you can get. It's just going to cost you a lot of money, that's for sure. Now as far as features that we do have, We do have the optional picnic tables, so those kind of pop down like such, so you can continue your work. This, of course, is finished in a beautiful wood trim. And then when you're done working and want to take a nap, you just press that button right there, and that's going to stow it away so you don't have to worry about it. Now, as far as the headliner, Drew mentioned this a little bit earlier. This is going to be finished in a full leather. This is not your ordinary headliner. This is a leather headliner. Feels absolutely phenomenal. And as far as the starlit abilities, I do want to point out at nighttime, you even have like shooting stars that go across the roof every few minutes. So it really adds to that premium ambience, because everyone can get a panoramic moonroof, but not everyone can get this headliner, that's for sure. Of course, your door trim is exquisitely done. I don't have to tell you that. Top to bottom, finished in leather. But let's go ahead and check out the cargo area before we take it out on a drive. And of course, when it comes to the cargo capacity, you have a power trunk, and you're going to have 17.9 cubic feet of cargo capacity in this Rolls-Royce Ghost. That doesn't really matter to you guys. Of course, if you have a Ghost, you probably also have maybe an SUV that you need to haul stuff in, or you just have one of your people that works for you haul stuff. So I don't think you're going to need it here in the Ghost, but it's definitely enough space to fit a lot of golf bags or stuff for a weekend trip if that's what you're going to be doing in the Ghost. But guys, I'm incredibly excited to take this Rolls-Royce Ghost out on a drive, so let's go ahead and do that. Wow.
So, we have now taken off in the Rolls-Royce Ghost. This, of course, is a special occasion for us because, as we mentioned in the intro, this is the first time we've been behind the wheel of a Rolls-Royce, the pinnacle of luxury automobiles. And it's very exciting to be able to test out the performance and the luxury that you experience in one of these vehicles. First of all, the acceleration.
Wow.
It is very fast. This is not a sports car. Acceleration isn't even the focus, but you still have a twin turbo V12. Which is absolutely ready to get this huge beast up to speed very quickly.
I don't know how much this thing weighs, but you can feel how heavy it is.
A lot.
But the engine doesn't. The struggle is just nothing. I mean, it is more than enough power to get this thing up to speed, and it doesn't ever sound unrefined in doing so. It is just the most refined engine I have probably ever heard.
And when you accelerate at a more reasonable clip, you really can't even hear the engine at all.
No.
It really just fades into the background. It's such a serene environment, of course, overall. And it's just about keeping that extreme luxurious experience, no matter what the terrain is outside. And despite this being positively huge, it does have rear wheel steering, which makes it quite a bit more maneuverable feeling. As I was turning out there onto this kind of tighter country road, it just reminded me of how this turns so much quicker than you would expect for a vehicle of this size.
Yeah, of course. Wow. Now, as far as the power figures, we didn't mention that. It's going to be 563 horsepower for this standard Ghost model. If you choose the black badge, it's actually going to up the power just a little bit. I believe it's 592 horsepower. But really, the thing you notice more than the horsepower is the torque, because the torque really just pushes you back in your seat to get you that effortless acceleration. And we're going to be sitting at 664 pound-feet of torque for this Rolls-Royce Ghost. Now, of course, this is a V12 This was actually the first V12 we've ever driven on the Car Confections channel, and of course, having a V12 has those unique benefits of that refinement and just effortless acceleration, which of course is something that you have to appreciate when you're behind the wheel of this Ghost. And as far as a 0 to 60 figure, you're going to be looking at the mid 4 seconds to 60 miles per hour.
You honestly feel like you're just going so incredibly slow.
Yeah.
We're going the speed limit right now, which is 55 miles per hour, and it just feels like we are absolutely sitting still because we are so isolated from the road. You just can't feel or hear anything, and it just looks like we're going incredibly slow.
But I won't leave you guys in suspense much longer. I know you guys have been waiting to hear how quiet this Rolls-Royce Ghost is going 55 miles per hour. So let's go ahead and put every one of our climate controls on the lowest setting, which is soft in this vehicle, and see how quiet it is. 51.5 decibels is what we're sitting at in this Rolls-Royce Ghost. Now, I do want to point out we are in South Carolina, so we're not in our home state of Kentucky when it comes to the sound level reading. Just sitting here and listening in this cabin, this is by far the quietest vehicle we have ever sampled. So I imagine if we got it back home in our home state of Kentucky and drove it on the exact same roads as some of the other vehicles that we've tested, it would be, well, the quietest that we've ever been.
Yeah, I definitely think this would be in the
insane.
40s.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably be in the upper 40s. It honestly makes like a S-Class seem like it's not so isolated, that's for sure. Because this Rolls-Royce Ghost is all about just the incredible level of isolation you get from the outside of the cab outside. And now that we're coming kind of back into the city, I do also want to talk about the ride quality for the Rolls-Royce Ghost. Now, it goes without saying, Rolls-Royces are known for their luxury drive experience. And that's going to be the case with this Ghost. The very first thing you notice when you sit in the seat is that the seat is the most plush seat that you've ever sat in. And then when you start driving, you'll realize it's the most plush drive experience you've ever been in. And I mean, it stuns you because you see holes in the road, you see undulations going on, and you can't feel anything. It's like every road is just paved meticulously perfect, which is certainly not the case here in South Carolina. You hit a hole.
Yeah,
what hole? Yeah.
You can see the holes. You can't feel the holes. That's the crazy thing about it. So we're going over some rough spots right here.
Yep.
And at the most you get this tiny vibration that you might feel in the steering wheel and nothing more. It's incredible. Now, as far as some other powertrain elements, you do have an 8-speed automatic transmission. You have standard all-wheel drive. Both of those are things that you're not going to notice or care about when you're behind the wheel or riding in this Rolls-Royce because they all just, seamlessly interact and blend into the background. This also doesn't have drive modes or anything that is a gimmick. It's all about that luxury experience all the time.
I'm sure a lot of you don't care about fuel economy, and it's not going to be great out of a V12 as you would expect. We're going to be sitting at 14 miles a gallon. Combined, if you're in the city, you're going to get 12. So not great fuel economy, but I don't think any of you guys looking to buy a Rolls-Royce are going to be deterred by the increasing gas prices to not buy one. I'm going to roll the dice and say that most of you guys won't care that much, even on premium fuel, that this gets 14 mpg. I do believe you also get the gas guzzler tax, which you probably won't also care about either.
Of course not. It's just one of the many lines of options on the sticker, that's for sure.
And before we get any further along, I do want to just go ahead and mention that the black badge is kind of designed to be the sportier version of the Rolls-Royce Ghost.
Sportier.
Yeah. So it's still not going to be a hard-edged sports car by any stretch of the imagination, but if you want the sportier version, get the black badge. You're going to have the sportier exterior design, as well as a few elements to make the drive experience a little bit sportier, but it's certainly not going to be a hard-edged sports car one way or the other with this Rolls-Royce Ghost. Now, as far as other things I want to mention, let's go ahead and do our Car Confections Airball and Slam Dunk. Drew, do you want to kick us off with the Slam Dunk?
Yeah, so we're just gonna say the Slam Dunk is the overall luxury experience. You don't need us to talk about this anymore. We've talked about it throughout this video. It really is just a level of luxury that cannot really even be spoken about. It just blows your mind.
You have to experience it, I think,
it
in order to really appreciate the amount of luxury in here. Now, as far as the Airball is concerned, really, I would be very tempted to say that there is not an airball for a vehicle this nice, but if I had to pick something, it would be the technology. The technology is not going to be like the craziest that you can get in any vehicle, and I think Rolls-Royce honestly has designed that intentionally, so I don't think it's really much of a con because the technology is not the focus of this vehicle. But coming directly from filming some of the latest BMWs to coming into this, you will notice there's quite a bit of a discrepancy in terms of technology with this Rolls-Royce as compared to those latest BMW products.
Right, you would think of this as kind of like an older version of iDrive.
And lastly here, as far as your warranty is concerned, you do have a 4-year unlimited mileage warranty for the Rolls-Royce Ghost. And you wouldn't think we'd end this video without talking about the pricing. And of course, it is going to be very expensive. It's a Rolls-Royce after all. Although I will say it is less expensive than the Phantom. So this is the bargain Rolls-Royce here. We start
option.
at about $350,000 for the Ghost model. Of course, the prices can vary a lot. If you choose the black badge, that's going to start at around $400,000, and so is the extended wheelbase version. That will start around $400,000 as well. Now, of course, you can option on a vast array of things to make this vehicle cost well over $500,000. It's really, the sky is the limit when it comes to the price and customizability with this vehicle. Now, this particular tester that you've been seeing today, we're coming in at $406,300 with the particular options that we have on today's example. And if you're looking to buy a Rolls-Royce Ghost, I don't think any of you guys are probably, but if you're looking to buy a Rolls-Royce Ghost and want to get the best price on that or any new vehicle, we would recommend you go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes, because on there we have a tool that will connect you with local dealers in your area to get you the best price on a new vehicle. Additionally, it's going to give you invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealer negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description.
I demand invoice price for my Rolls-Royce.